What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Games review, this time for Street Fighter 6. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host and lead reviewer. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
Hi guys, I've been playing Street Fighter 6.
Ooh, came in real loud right there, just because you leaned into the mic. Hello. Connor, you are our fighting game guy on the channel. So it only made sense for you to take the lead review here on Street Fighter 6. I have also been playing Street Fighter 6, but I don't play fighting games. This is my first fighting game ever. So I will be giving that perspective and that type of review as well. But I want to lead off with your lead review and your experienced perspective on Street Fighter 6. So where are you at with this game right now?
You know, Street Fighter 6 is a great fighting game and a great game. I haven't been a Street Fighter fan because I haven't really played much. I have 5 and I played a bit of it and I never quite got it down. I never even found out which character I was playing. And having that be my experience with Street Fighter and going into 6, it is. And I've also played some Street Fighter 4. I've played a little bit of Third Strike at arcades and whatnot. And this one is a good modern take on the Street Fighter franchise. The controls feel very responsive. As with any fighting game, getting the timing down for your combos and for the moves to chain into one another is always kind of a struggle, but it's all pretty intuitive. You know, the game, first of all, for new fighting game players, as Tavin can probably attest, because he has a good grasp on this game. He does very well in it because it does a good job of teaching you how to play. It gives you the option of classic controls, the classic, DP motions, the fireball motions putting forward on your joystick or your D-pad or whatever, controller you choose to play on, but it also has modern, which allows you to do moves a lot more easier, but gives you less control in, the kind of combos that you can execute. I unfortunately don't have much experience with modern because I instantly went to classic because it's what I'm familiar with, and it also gives you a long list of characters that are pretty diverse. It's not like Street Fighter V's current roster, which is extremely large, but I do know that this one's going to only get bigger. By the time the game is kind of coming to the end of its cycle, it's going to have tons and tons of characters. But the ones that we have currently right now, they really have a playstyle that's fitting for any player out there. You have the weird, disjointed hitboxes of Daalism, the strong fundamentals of characters like Ryu, Ken, and Luke, while also feeling all different amongst one another. You have the big grappler type characters such as Zangief, and the more grappler like characters like Manon, and the big heavy hitting easy characters to learn like the one that I've chosen to play, Marisa. I know probably Tavin has the gameplay footage that I recorded, unless it's yours, playing right now, and I'm apologizing for getting my ass kicked because that was my first foray into the online mode, which is extremely easy to get into. You just go and you press, okay, this is the character I'm playing, these are the kind of players I want to match up with, am I going to be cross-platform, am I just going to be, playing with people on PC, and then it just kind of cycles me through, allowing me to jump into games and getting out of them very quickly, rematching as much as I want to, leaving whenever I so choose. And I don't know if this is an active decision by the game, but I'm able to play a lot of different enemy varieties, any different characters played by different online people. Like I played against a Jamie, and then I would instantly go to a this is not the order. Manon. I would go, get a nice diverse group of players to keep me on my feet and get me more acclimated with the game. I played a little bit of World Tour, which it's kind of its open world, go around, create, develop your own fighting style based off the characters that are currently in the game, fight against random NPCs that you can encounter in the world. Though I can't say, I typically would want to spend much time on it because it seemed, though it had a lot of features in it, I saw it kind of as more gimmicky. Because the thing with fighting games is that I like to spend my time getting better at playing whatever character I've chosen, which like I said before, is Marisa for now, the big, strong, Spartan-like lady. But the World Tour just kind of takes you away from honing your skills with your particular character and do a lot more superfluous character building for something that you're not really going to be able to try out against a lot of other players out there, at least in any meaningful way, because a lot of the bulk of the game and the good feelings you have executing those controls come from playing the characters that it gives you on the outset. And I see myself as playing this game a lot more into the future, which is really a thing that a lot of fighting games have to do is grab you with the way that it feels and wants you to get better and beat your opponents into the ground, so you're no longer being the one having your ass kicked, which is what was happening to me. Because, like I said, I'm not very much a long-term Street Fighter player, but this is probably the best playing Street Fighter that I've ever experienced myself.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm pretty much right along with you. As a first-time fighting game player, I think Street Fighter 6 is a great game. It has really great in-depth tutorial systems and onboarding, great ways to like figure out quickly what type of style of character you want to go for. I'm going in 100% blind. I had no idea who I wanted to play, and very quickly because of the way the character roster is laid out and the small details they give you about each character, I was very quickly able to dial in sort of like my character type that I prefer, and very quickly found a main in Kimberly. Which is who I've been playing a majority of my time with. I've been playing around with, Jury and a little bit Cammy. Like, I've been touching around on a couple of different characters, but Kimberly right now is my main. And I think this game is really, really good at grabbing your attention and holding it for long periods of time, which is something that I've never experienced in any other fighting game before, where I felt like it was really obtuse, or that I just couldn't get a handle on it, or because I didn't want to devote the time to dedicate dozens of hours to get good, that it was just going to beat me up no matter what. This one, I feel like the way its tutorials are laid out, the way its onboardings are laid out, and the way that it explains its systems gave me the opportunity to approach this game and get serviceable at its mechanics quickly, which is something that I really, really appreciate. So very quickly, I'm able to like understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and when things go wrong, I understand very quickly why they're going wrong. And I'm able to switch on the fly and adapt in a lot of great ways. I think the style of the game is fantastic. It's its graphical presentation is beautiful. And I just love the attitude and sort of the street hip hop styling of it. The punk graffiti attitude that it has really, really is quite captivating. I played a little bit of World Tour in the demo thing, and to me, World Tour is something that will immediately turn new players off, in my opinion. It is, like you said, Connor, it is gimmicky. It is not very well written story content. It doesn't feel fully fleshed out. It just kind of feels cheap, which is surprising because the character creator is actually fairly in-depth and quite good. It's just that when you actually get into the mechanics of that mode, it just falls really flat. It's very boring, very generic, and just not very interesting at all. And for it to take up such a core pillar of this game, from the moment you load up the menus, it's World Tour, Battle Hub, Fighting Grounds. I've spent almost all of my time in Fighting Grounds. Battle Hub, I understand, is just sort of like a way that you can run around in a 3D space and fight online players, just in a general hub, which is cool. But yeah, World Tour, I just have no interest in diving any deeper into it because it just so immediately is boring and uninteresting and generic, and I would just rather sit in a one-on-one with a CPU and grind out my skills and get better at this game. But that's a huge positive for this game. I want to sit down in a room all the time and just grind out and get better and advance my skill set as much as possible so that I can become a threat on the actual battlefield.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, obviously one of the best parts of fighting games, aside from playing with random players, is playing with your friends. Is dominating them, feeling that sense of pride as you beat them down, but also the sense of defeat when you get your ass handed to you as well. And the power dynamics always change. Maybe at a certain point we'll hit a wall and there'll be the better player amongst us. But at the same time, that can flip at any moment in time. Because sometimes you just all of a sudden get that character. You might play him well enough at first, but then you know how to get past the defenses or avoid those attacks that always seem to get you. You focus on blocking more, and now you know that, okay, maybe blocking is an important feature and not something I should just try to avoid as much as possible. And that's something that I personally haven't overcome in Street Fighter yet, because I'm still getting down the core systems of how the game feels before I'm able to do a lot of the crazier things that I've seen people do online and on the tournament that recently happened. It really it's just a fun game to play with your friends, and it's very easy to have a nice lobby going where you can constantly switch out, and also have a training mode that you can do when you're not playing with your friends, and hone your skills just when you fight against someone else. Like if I fought against you, I can say, okay, he's beating me, and I can't avoid his grappling moves, so I can train against that character, and try and avoid that better and
figure out some tactics around it.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned like being in a lobby and then but also being able to jump in the training mode without leaving the lobby. I don't know if that's like unique here, but it's so like smart, oh, okay, hold on, they're fighting, let me back up and let me go drill this move again and again and again, so that when I do re-enter the fight, I can use it effectively and so forth. Like that's really, really nice. Its arcade mode is fun. I like its arcade mode a lot. It's goofy in the middle, but then it'll challenge you, and the way that it knocks the difficulty up or down depending on your performance in the fights. Again, I don't know if any of this is unique, but it's really appreciated. And I think just its general like systems and how they all feed into each other. There's a lot going on in its systems between what is essentially the stamina gauge, the super gauge, your health gauge, all of these things. Like there's still a lot going on, but I feel like they do give you good tutorialization of each system and how do they kind of fold into each other on it. And so like you can fairly quickly figure everything out and get a good grasp of what's happening, which again, like I think that's my biggest thing about it, is that every other fighting game that I've played or tried, like I just felt so illiterate in it. Like I just didn't understand what was happening. It just felt like I was just mashing buttons all the time. I would try to learn combos and I would learn like a couple or something, but I would never learn how to like combine combos together or combine moves together and string them along in a way to where I felt like I was catching a groove. Here, instantly I felt that way. Instantly I was like, oh, okay, so this character has these 3 moves. If I use them in this order, I can get a nice little string of combos going. Oh, wait, I got interrupted here. Why is that? Let's find a different move that kind of works there instead. Or let's, figure out a way to input these moves in faster or something. Like, I'm just really, really impressed with this game, and I'm enjoying it. And I really want to keep playing it for the rest of the year. Again, I just really wish World Tour hit, and it doesn't.
There's not. And maybe, hey, maybe this will, at the very least, lead you to other fighting games. Since you just have that strong fundamentals, and then you start saying, okay, well, these other games play better or play similar to it, and I enjoy it, and you can find some enjoyment in other fighting games.
And that's another element of it, is that I never felt like any other fighting game gave me the tools to understand what was happening. I just feel like they kind of always assumed that you already had the tools. There was that literacy of fighting games that no other game was teaching you how to read the game. It was just, another language. This one I feel like teaches you how to read it very well. And I feel like I could take these the understanding of these mechanics and apply them to a different game, and it'll help me understand that game faster, even if the game does have its differences from Street Fighter 6 itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the other game that did that very well, Guilty Gear Strive. It was really beginner friendly.
You got cut off there. Say that again.
Guilty Gear Strive was very good at acclimating people to the fighting game scene, teaching you how to do combos, basic inputs, and it was a lot more of a simple game plan, even more so than Street Fighter 6. That's opposed to games like King of Fighters 15, which came out recently, which is great, but that's already a hard game on its own, and it definitely wasn't very forgiving to new players. And so it's good that Street Fighter 6 is continuing that trend of, okay, we know people want to play our game that necessarily are fighting game players, so let's get them acclimated to that. And they did so very well, as you said, and you're a good case example of it. Bill as well. You both took to it a lot faster than I would have expected. Definitely faster than I did when I was playing games like Guilty Gear Revelator, where I was just slowly pressing those inputs, doing those motions, and saying, okay, these are how they chain into one another, and I'm getting better now. You guys seem to have gotten a better grasp of that, and I think that's really in due part to how Street Fighter 6 is presented its mechanics.
Having Phil in here playing with us as well also, I feel, is helping me, because it's putting someone on my level, and we are advancing at different speeds. But when we play together, us advancing in different ways and at different speeds is helping us along faster. Phil's been playing. Who's he been playing? He's been playing Ken a lot,
Ken.
right? And Ken, just the way Ken moves, felt like it was countering my Kimberly really hard. And so I went in and started developing different moves and applying those different moves into my skill set. So the things that I was using against you that was working, but wasn't working against him, I had to switch it up, and then I could suddenly, apply, and I would get in great moves and great combos and get in a couple of wins on Phil on that. And I wouldn't have done that if I was just playing you, who has your set in stone ways of playing and was playing a different type of character. Playing against Phil, who's closer to my level, allowed me to adapt in different ways and be able to become just a better fighter overall.
Yeah, I noticed that. I even saw improvements during the games themselves.
Yeah. It's just
It's me. Yeah.
I really want to sing the praises of just the hardcore mechanics of the game. Like, it's just fun to play. Just a constant one more round, one more round, one more round, one more round. Like, and you just never want to put it down once you're in there.
You want that loop.
One thing that's kind of unfortunate for me is that any video game that doesn't have any like focus on narrative or story or things that you have to pay attention, I usually like throw a podcast on or listen to music while I play or whatever. I'm doing that a lot with Diablo 4 right now. But you can't do that with this game.
Oh, you have to have your focus. There's a reason why when people play fighting games and tournaments, as you can see, they're focused. Their eyes are on the prize.
Yeah, you've got to be like zeroed in focused. There is no other way to like play it, and so it makes it sort of difficult for me to just casually play the game. Like, I have to like not be in the mood, because like I can quickly get into the mood for this game. It's just that it just requires full focus, and it's not it. It's a game that I don't want to play straight for like 4 hours, but I could if I had friends with me. But on my own, I don't want to play it on my own for 4 hours. But at the same time, I can't play it for just 15 minutes. Like, it's not a 15-minute game. It is you got to dedicate it probably about an hour or more to the game before, or else you're just not learning anything new in it. You're not evolving in any meaningful way. But yeah, I'm having a ton of fun in it. I haven't really, I've really only just been in the one-on-ones and in the arcade modes a little bit, and in a little bit like online play. Are there other modes in here? What are the extreme battles? Have you played around with those at all?
I have not. No.
Okay.
Because I'm most of what people, anything that's not just the regular one-on-one fighting, generally in fighting games is considered kind of a gimmick. It might be fun to jump into every now and then to break the monotony of just going round after round against different players or the same players. But, it probably has a purpose for some people. It makes them better at the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's that core, those core mechanics that everyone is here for. So, but yeah. And again, just the style and the presentation of the game, I can't sing the praises enough of. Like, it's really just fantastic. It's so close to just being a perfect game. And it just falls short in just a couple of areas, that like, even like its, competitors or its peers in the genre are doing way better. You look at what NetherRealm has been doing with Mortal Kombat and with Injustice, where they're going, okay, we are not like the purest gameplay experience. We're the fighting game for the casual player, and that's why we're the most popular. So let's add a narrative to our games. Let's add a cinematic quality to our games that sort of take it to another level and allow players to jump in and enjoy something other than just the core mechanics. And so like with Street Fighter's attempt at that with World Tour, like it's like crazy how fall short, or how short they're falling in it, in comparison, which is really unfortunate.
But we kind of already had that impression when we were seeing the game at first, so it wasn't too surprising. At least
it never looked like the polished mode that the core thing was. And also like just the idea of like creating a fighting game character in your like a created character in your fighting game is a tricky one, because like you want to train up the movesets, but then you can't take those movesets into online play. So then you're stuck with a character that you can kind of use, but doesn't play like any of the characters you do use. And so it just kind of feels like a waste of time. Connor, anything else you want to mention on Street Fighter 6 here?
Characters are nice looking, if that wasn't said before. especially certain ones.
Oh yeah. Oh for sure. Yes, yes, yes. The game
God,
looks
those
great.
guys.
The game really does look great and sound great. Like I'm really really enjoying just what like I even like I'll see people on my TikTok feed. I'll be scrolling through and somebody playing Street Fighter will pop up and I'll just stop and watch for a little bit and just be like, oh, "Okay, yeah, I see what they're doing here." And it's cool to see these characters who I haven't seen fight yet fight in certain ways and all that. So yeah, I really like this game and I can't wait to keep playing.
Way to get it sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Street Fighter 6 review. Ring off in the comments how you feel about the game. Are you trying it out? Are you giving it a chance? Are you an experienced fighting game player, or are you new to the genre like me? Let us know down below and how you felt about the game. Until next time, have a great time. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
I'm on street fighting.